Just quickly, I wanted to talk to you about Madame Web, but actually I only saw half of it. I started last night and then got bored and fell asleep.
Yeah, I read your comment.
Yeah, there was no follow-up. But as for the first half, and then you can tell me more about the whole film. I thought, like we had a brief chat about this on DH. It's like the room of superhero movies, and then there was one person who said like the room was way better, and for sure the room is more weird and meme worthy than Madame Web, but it's not that far off. I think the comparison still works because the inertness of basically all the scenes, all the dialogue, it's just, it seems like a movie made by someone who had no clue whatsoever what they're doing. Not like doing the wrong thing, but just no idea what at all. And one of the telltale signs of that, I thought, was there is so much ADR, that like additional dialogue that is put off screen when you don't see an actor's face, but you still hear them.
Yeah.
There's so much additional dialogue recording in this, and it's always exposition. It's always like they're cramming more lines into these scenes than there was in the script or there was on set, to make it more accessible, like to explain everything. And it's so funny because even in the audio quality, you can sometimes even hear the difference, like on set or studio recording. It's not really cleaned up. So you basically see the movie and once every 1 or 2 minutes, you realize, oh, they fixed something here and something there. And so, and then the line delivery. I mean, Dakota Johnson is just funny to watch. I love it.
Yeah, this is definitely another career low for her. Shades of Grey.
she looks like, and sounds most of all like she's sleepwalking through the entire thing. It's so funny.
Basically saying, "Where's my check?"
Yeah, fuck all of you. I want to get out of here as quickly as possible.
I'm phoning it in.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's so funny.
There was way too much dialogue, stupid and cringe acting. And the villain, Ezekiel, he's like, his genuine purpose, I got to kill these women because they're gonna kill me.
Yeah.
there was nothing like, they could interfere on the serum with the spiders, or there's to be some type of rivalry, whatever he would foreshadow. It's basically like, I'm just gonna kill them before they kill me.
It's that's what the German guy with the mustache said as well. He had those dreams too.
Oh, great! So we have Hispanic Hitler.
Yeah, but it wasn't
Spider Hitler.
It wasn't 3 spider women in the dreams of Hitler. It was 3 old Jewish guys with crooked noses. And he was, waking up every night screaming. And at some point he was like, I gotta, do something about those guys.
Damn, I didn't know that. But
yeah, it's a little known fact of history.
Really? Good.
I
never bothered to read Mein Kampf.
It isn't. But that villain was funny as well. Like almost all the characters / actors are really funny. Just like the way they try to get through these scenes. And the bad guy, it's like when they're in the jungle at the beginning and, he shoots everyone and runs away with a spider. It's like I was asking myself, why the fuck did you do that? Why didn't you just wait until everyone is asleep, steal the spider and make off? What? Why in full light of day with people surrounding you from all angles, you just pull out a gun and shoot everyone? What the fuck? Man, why would you do that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's so fucking stupid. They want to, he's an evil man, and the audience has to understand that. So we make him do something so evil, like shooting a pregnant woman. But why would he do that? It wasn't necessary at all. Nobody suspected him.
I mean, even
Jesus.
that jungle scene prior to Cassandra Webb's mother getting shot.
Yeah.
She's like busy talking about the spider and John. Then she breaks and go, ah, I'm like, oh, like she has to ad lib, like, oh,
yeah.
I mean, she wasn't convincing as someone who was, I guess, about to, I don't know, give birth or in pain or whatever.
No,
it was forced. Then there's one scene where Dakota Johnson is on the train. That part didn't make sense. And she's having all these stupid premonitions. But there's a part, if you look close, where she sits down and she has a premonition, and then she's smiling like she's probably laughing at this fucking movie is.
Yeah, there were other scenes like that as well, when sometimes a character would, smirk a little bit, and you're like, why? The tone of the scene doesn't fit that at all. Like, why would that character? They are talking about something super serious or something, and then the character would, smile ever so slightly.
It reminds me of that movie Navy SEALs with Charlie Sheen and Michael Biehn, and he's like being rescued by his teammates, and he's all injured, like Then when he's in the car, he's all smiling. Like, yo, what's up? And he broke character. In actuality, he hated the movie. He hated doing the movie.
Yeah.
So it's just like, give me my fucking paycheck for laughing. And that's how Dakota Johnson probably felt. And she actually, of course, as you well know, she put them on blast the whole movie.
Yeah.
But she said that the script
changed a lot. Yeah.
Changed a lot. It's much different than what she expected. So
she is under contract. She gets paid. She still has to do her job. It's basically like with Mark Hamill on The Last Jedi. He hated the script, but
rightfully so.
Yeah, and rightfully so. But he did his job, and he did it damn well. Because as bad as the story is, his performance is fantastic.
Yeah.
Considering what he was asked to play, still he does it very well.
Yeah, that's another movie that pissed me off.
Oh yeah, I mean
the fact that Disney is, they're doing nostalgia bait and bringing back these beloved characters. I was happy, after Return of the Jedi. I'm like, that's it. They lived on with their lives, whatever. I don't want to see them again in another movie.
So you weren't a fan of the famous Thrawn Timothy Zahn novel series?
Of Tron?
General Thrawn, the villain, the blue guy, the Star Wars villain. Because in the 90s, these books were huge. Heir to the Empire. Extended universe stuff, and people loved that, and there was a continuation of Return of the Jedi.
No, I never bothered to check out the books.
Yeah, I missed those too because I was too busy with the Indiana Jones extended universe. I read all of those books.
Wow.
Some of them only released in Germany, actually. They will be part of my indie video if it ever releases.
Well, I'm sure it will. Just do a bit at a time. But back to Madam Web.
Yes. Let's go back to the jungle scene for a bit, right to the beginning, because another funny thing about it was the exposition dialogue. It's like we kick off in the jungle, and sure, the writers want to establish, what it's all about and what the characters are doing there. So they have the spider mom and the bad guy talk to each other. They're obviously colleagues. They have been doing this for weeks or months together, right?
Yeah.
And then she starts to explain to him what they are doing there in the first place. It's like, oh, look at this spider. Maybe she will help us, find cures for all kinds of diseases and stuff. And if I was him, I would be like, bitch, what are you talking about? I know why we are here. We've been doing this for months. Why are you explaining to me why we are here? And that is the thing about exposition. As a writer, you need to find a way to make it organic to the scene. Yeah. And not make it seem like the character is actually talking to the audience. And that is what happens here, of course, and in lots of the movie's exposition scenes. And that's a telltale of awful writing, really.
Yeah, yes. It is kind of, I mean, yeah, it does make sense, in other words, to throw it out there, why she's, trying to gather these spiders for research.
Yeah, but then have her talk to a character who doesn't know that in universe. I mean, make it make sense.
You're right. Right. Yeah,
there's solutions to these problems always.
But
you just have to figure them out, and that's the job of a writer.
That is true.
They did not do their job.
No,
they didn't do their homework.
Yeah, well, that is, to quote Loki from Thor Ragnarok, you had just one job, just the one.
Oh man, don't remind me of Loki. That second season, I caught up with it.
Any good?
It's like, it's not the worst Marvel thing I've seen. Others have annoyed me more. But like Echo, I just can't with that show. That was some of the worst stuff I ever saw.
Yeah, it was very Captain Planet-y at the end.
Yes.
The only good episode from Echo was the first. There was a lot of action.
Was it? Was it though?
A little cameo appearance of Daredevil.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I mean, the first episode did come off like a comic book. Like one of those mini graphics.
Yeah, but half of it was previously on.
Yeah, but the rest of the series I didn't care for. Yeah, I know it's. I respect the representation of Native Americans.
Yeah, sure, no problem with that at all.
But it's just mishandled.
Yeah, mishandled. Badly. So that really annoyed me. Whereas, I'm sorry, what was the title we were talking about before? The other Marvel title?
Madam Web, and then Echo and something else, whatever.
Yeah, that other something else that didn't annoy me. Anyway, Madam Web didn't annoy me either. I would rather rewatch Madam Web for its unintentional comedy than ever see fucking Love and Thunder again,
Oh yeah, I hate it.
And I mean it. I think Madam Web is more enjoyable than Love and Thunder and other worst Marvel stuff.
But in terms of the movies I saw, to me, there was only three trilogies that
3
trilobites bangers. That's Star Wars, the first 3, Indiana Jones, and Captain America. Because like the Avengers movie, in terms of trilogy, Age of Ultron wasn't that good. Iron Man 2 and 3 wasn't that good, although I do like Iron Man 2 more than Iron Man 3.
I mean, Iron Man 2 is not as bad as its reputation. I found on a rewatch a year ago or so.
Because the cool kids, they want to dump on it, and I'm like, actually, in one of my articles, I defended it, saying, introduced the Black Widow. There was the Demon in a Bottle storyline, like parts of it where Tony got drunk. Read the comic, and the fight between him and Rhodey. To another one bites the dust. You don't get any more whimsical than that. And
it did tell us more or less straightforward story about the villain that was hurt by Tony Stark's family. Wants to take revenge. It's very straightforward, but it's a more functional story than fucking Eternals.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Eternals was horrible.
Oh my.
I mean, because of course, Shaq, he said that, hey, I like Eternals. And I was like, good for you, blah, blah, blah. But compared to the source material, which, Marvel, for some reason, didn't pay enough attention to, because the writer Neil Gaiman, he done an excellent reboot of the Eternals. Even though I am a Jack Kirby fan, Neil Gaiman's treatment from the graphic novels were more fleshed out, more adult oriented. You know, Kirby, to me, he's my favorite artist, you know, living or
Yeah,
dead.
yeah.
But and he has a lot of great ideas. He was the one that built Marvel. But in terms of story composition, everything comes off like a B movie. Like, don't open that door. Wait, that explosion over there. I'll stop you. And then does narration. And the man with the laser gun blasted the building, which will fall upon the citizens unless blah, blah, blah flies to the rescue and stop them, but absorbing impact, stuff like that. That's why a lot of people, if Stan Lee really, wrote those stories for the Fantastic Four, like he said he would, then I would give him credit. It's just that he didn't share the credit, or at least give Kirby and Ditko enough, royalties or financial compensation. But Eternals, the movie itself was too new agey, like.
Oh yes, that is the perfect term to describe it. Yeah,
It was kind of like I'm watching a fucking 2.5 hour Poland Spring commercial.
Yeah, Chariots of the Gods, Erich von Däniken, stuff like that.
Yeah, but Kirby's original idea of the Eternals was inspired by Chariots of the God, but it was more epic.
It's fair to be inspired by it. I mean, I guess for me it comes down to more world building and tone issues with that in the movie. Because I think it just messes with the world building like crazy what they did in Eternals. It's like, you got Angelina Jolie's character, and she's not Athena from the Greek pantheon, but she is the one who inspired the Greeks to, come up with Athena, I guess, as a deity. So says the movie. But then on the other hand, we do have the actual Greek pantheon in Thor, Love and Thunder, with stupid Zeus. Yeah, awful.
So, that could have been that crossover.
So we actually do have that pantheon, and we do have the pantheon of the Egyptians, as we see in Moon Knight, and we do have the Norse pantheon, as we know from Thor. So where does this Eternal stuff fit in, where supposedly she inspired the myth, whereas we know from the world building of the other movies that these myths are real on their own? It just doesn't, fit at all.
No.
I'm someone who likes coherent world building, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, but there was a lot of things that were missing from the movie, because the Deviants, they were like an advanced civilization, even though they were monster-like, or and they were evil, depending on one's point of view. They were highly advanced. They had fucking flying ships, laser guns, jetpacks, everything.
That's awesome.
In the movies, and this is from Jack Kirby's idea. In the movies, it's they even had like
they're animals, beasts.
Yeah, but in the movies, they're like animals, monsters. Like,
oh man, what a dumbing down of the source material.
And one of the characters, which was in the movie Kro, Kro, in the comics, he was kind of like the bridge of peace between the Eternals and the Deviants. He realized that the Deviants, his fellow race of Deviants, are in the wrong because they want to conquer and shit. But
that's actually interesting.
Yeah, he was the gateway to trying to, stop them, kind of like the X-Men in some ways. And the Icarus, he was kind of like a Thor archetype in the comics, very stoic and always ready to go into battle. And he was basically Jack Kirby's Superman, because he could fly, shoot laser beams, had super strength. Macquarie was like the Flash, and he was like a tech wizard, as far as I remember. And definitely Cersei was a party girl. She, of course, she had these powers, but she would go to these extravagant parties, and also like aristocrat. And she's the type that would get down, like dance kind of like that scene from Poor Things, you know.
Well, you know what? In these like few lines, you have just described a way more interesting character than was in the movie.
Yeah, I mean, the Eternals. I read them as a kid. I even wrote to Kirby. I mean, unfortunately, I was too young to get my letter published because, you know, hey, I like this, and, you know, it didn't come off too coherent when you're a kid, you know, writing to a comic book company, you know. But I admire what Kirby accomplished, you know, his world building. Even though some of the dialogue was campy, but that was cool. That's Kirby.
Yeah, I can take that.
That's why
if the rest works.
I have the omnibus, you know, the trade of the original Jack Kirby comics, as well as Neil Gaiman. So when I saw the movie, I was pissed.
To Madam Web, yeah.
What? It's a wasted potential because it could have been more of a which they was trying to go for that angle, more of a suspense thriller instead of a superhero movie. Your basic superhero movie, but it was dragged out. There was no real action. All there was like flashbacks or no premonition after premonition. Too much dialogue. Again, bad, as you would say, bad exposition. The second half was even further bogged down. There was no payoff during the second act. The premonition didn't come true, if you know what I mean. It was a big tease.
I mean, they don't murder the villain at the end. No, he gets killed by a Pepsi can, doesn't he?
Something like that. There's no Spider Women, you know.
Oh, not even in the isn't it the rule that they get their costumes in the last scene of the movie?
Yes.
With these origin stories.
That shit didn't happen. You know, at the end, you do see Madam Web with the glasses, you know, covering her eyes. Spoiler alert, because she's blind.
Yeah, I know.
The great female Daredevil. And she has a red jacket or whatever, and something, and you know, there's her girls, you know, Charlie's Angels. Cassandra's Angels.
Yeah. So this is the first time I've seen Sydney Sweeney, and you know, people are talking about her like crazy, and it's like, who is this woman?
Yeah, I mean, I remember watching it from that show. My wife likes Euphoria.
Oh, okay, she wasn't that. Okay, I didn't see it.
I thought I didn't care for the series. I thought it was too that shit, and you know, it didn't really go anywhere. It's just Zendaya taking drugs, and you know.
You know, I adore Dune 2, but I don't need to see any more of her after that. She scowls a lot in Dune 2 and it gets annoying.
Yeah.
Even Shakes from Dark Horizons admitted it. He said it himself. Was the one thing about the movie he wasn't liking that much was, you know, her facial expressions.
Oh boy.
Yeah, and he's right. So
yeah, we gotta watch. I didn't watch the rest of the first Dune, so eventually I get around to that before I get to check out the second one.
I mean, it's not gonna be that long until it hits streaming. You know, 3 months or so, and you can take your time rewatching the first and then catch up with it on streaming if you're not in a hurry. But you should catch up eventually. It's just, you know, this impressive filmmaking. So